Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Annalyn Policarpio. I'm one of the product managers for the Domino product family. I welcome you today for this new webinar for HCL Verse, where we will share with you the updates for the HCL Verse releases and the Verse features that we've delivered. As mentioned, I am one of the product managers for the Domino product family. I share the product management responsibilities for HCLverse with Tim Clark, who can't be here with us today as he is on a personal time off. But don't worry, I'm here to share with you all the updates. I'm also joined today by a few of our Verse developers. We've planned some demos for you, so stay tuned. All right. Before we dive into the content, I want to take a moment to acknowledge something really important. And as you all know, behind every feature we deliver and every enhancement that you see, there's a team of talented and dedicated individuals working tirelessly to bring all these features to life. So here's the whole Verse web development team who put in tremendous effort to deliver these features to you. I'd like to give a huge shout out to this team. Thank you for everything that you do. And also in here is our Verse mobile development team, both for Android and iOS. Again, I'd like to give a shout out to this team. Thank you for everything that you do. Okay, so as promised, we will share with you the features that we've delivered for HLVerse and how these new features can boost your productivity. Okay, standard disclaimer, of course, what we'll share today will include some sneak peek of upcoming features. So please do take note that some of the information and also some of the timeline may change. All right. Okay. So, as for our content or the agenda for today, we'll have a quick introduction for HCLverse. We'll cover the new features that we've delivered in the recent releases for both Verse Web and Verse Mobile. And we'll also touch on the accessibility topic and the BSI certification. And as promised, we have a few demos prepared for you. And also, as usual, we will have a Q&A. And speaking of Q&A, some timekeeping. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the questions panel at any time. That should be on the questions panel, not the chat. We'll get to your questions and answer them at the end of the session. And before I move on to the next slide, I'd like to kick things off with a quick poll. If Dan, if you can launch the first poll that we have in here. Um, so as you know, HCL Verse has been around for 8 years now. And a question will pop up on your screen in just a moment. Please take a second to select the option that best describes how long you've been using the product. We're interested to know if you've been using it ever since we launched or released it way back in 2016, or if you're just starting out to use and explore HLverse. So we'll give you a moment to answer that quick poll, and we appreciate your participation. All right, I see the responses coming in. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get into the content of the webinar. Okay, we'll do a quick introduction for HCLverse. So HCLverse is our trusted browser-based modern email client with enterprise-grade security. So this is an email client that helps you manage your email, your calendar, your contacts. It can help you manage your daily work and collaborate with your colleagues from anywhere and on any device of your choice. So it's also available in the web browser and on both the iOS and Android devices. And what's more, HCLverse runs on HCL Domino. And as you all know, Domino has a very robust security with multiple built-in layers of protection. So it offers, HCLverse also offers the flexibility when it comes to deployment options. It can provide you with both on-prem or cloud options for your deployment. And on top of that, you can also leverage high availability features for each Silvers. So with this product, you're not just getting a powerful email client, you can also have the confidence that your data is secure because it runs on Domino. So if you're not already using it, well, you can start using it now. And okay, for this next slide, this is more of a reminder. If you want to know more about HLverse, we have a lot of content out there. We also did a similar webinar last year in April, which is available for replay. This is posted in our digital solutions channel in YouTube. So you can uh, go to this link and review what other features we have delivered for HCLverse in the past few years. And as mentioned, we are going to dive deeper with the features that we have delivered in the most recent releases, starting off with the Verse Web. And I will now hand over the floor to Doug. Take it away.
Yeah, hello everybody. All right. Um, so yeah, we're gonna cover what's new in HCLverse in the last couple of releases. So on this slide, you can see a bunch of the 322 enhancements, the ability to preview a text file attachment. I want to note that that feature is available no matter if you have the connections integration or the Domino file preview service enabled or not. So you don't need either of those. We've added the ability to open a delegated archive mail file. We have done some improvements in the event form to be able to recognize if you have a room or a resource conflict. I will demo that a little bit later. We added the ability to define if you want to have the user logged out of same time, if you have same time integration enabled, when you are logging out of Verse. We've had some personal contact group improvements, mainly around adding or finding users. So when you're creating a group, you can use the in the user field when you're adding a user. We've added a type ahead ability that will search the directory as you type. We've made some improvements on the modify on send extension. So I will demo what is possible with that. And we made an enhancement to Domi as well, the Domino online meeting integration within Verse. We had a restriction where you could not change the type of provider on a repeating meeting, but now you can. Let's jump to the next slide. Yeah, so in 323, we added a couple of preferences that I will demo in a little bit. A preference for how you want to handle sent mail, if you want to save it or not. And another preference on if you actually want your default online meeting to be added to every new event that you create. So I will show that in a little bit.
Yep. Before we dive into the demo, a little bit about accessibility. As you all know, we've shared this information for the Nomad webinar as well. We did back in early January for HL Verse. As we continue to enhance and ensure that the product meets the needs of our users, we are also consistently improving the overall user experience. And also a key focus for us for this year is addressing the accessibility improvements. So our goal is to complete the majority of all the accessibility enhancements for the upcoming release in March. And we are prioritizing these updates to align with our commitment to making the platform more inclusive. So for the uh, last couple of releases, we've included accessibility fixes in there, especially for the screen reader, the keyboard navigation, and color contrast. So you can find all those accessibility fixes and enhancements that is listed in our release notes, which is available in this knowledge article. All right, and as promised, let's get on with the demo.
All right. All right, so the first thing that's going to be demoed here is the ability to preview text file attachments. So as I said, you don't need connections or Domino file preview. So what you just saw here was opening an email, and you click on the text file attachment name, and it opens in the preview mode there. In that preview mode, you can download or tear off into a new window. Okay. The next thing I will show here is the ability to open a delegated archive mail file. So you see that I'm logged in as Carl Campbell here, and I want to open my coworker's Bob's archive. So when the delegation panel, it opened Bob's mail file. And in the folder panel, you see that he has an archive listed. So you can click on that, and that will open his archive mail file. And now you have the ability to interact with the emails in there. All right. So as these windows close, the next feature that we will demonstrate is the room and resource checking. So you see that Carl has two meetings in the event bar, one at 9 and one at 10. And those two meetings are actually in the same reserved room. So in a second, it will show you some of that info. So the 9 o'clock meeting is in room B. The 10 o'clock meeting is also in room B. There you go. Okay, and Carl needs to reschedule the 9 o'clock meeting to at 10 o'clock. And obviously there's going to be a room conflict. So when he does the reschedule, you see that there's a new warning that says conference room B is unavailable. So what you can do is remove that room, search for a new room, add the new room, and then click save and send the meeting off. So that prevents the need to edit the meeting twice if I didn't actually know that there was a conflict in the room for the room. Okay, the next enhancement is the modify on send extension, which allows you to edit the subject body and signature of an email, an outgoing email. So I have my system configured with an extension that looks for the text account number and will modify the email after the send button is clicked. You see the account number is in the body of the email. When I click send, behind the scenes, it will modify the email So I can go to the sent folder and we can see what changes were made. I'll open the email that was sent, and you see that the subject was modified, the body was modified, and a signature was added to the end. All right, so next we will take a look at the new settings that have been added. So the first setting will be how to handle sent mail. So we'll go to the verse settings page. And then we'll go into the mail section and scroll down to the save sent mail options, which are always save, never save, or ask if you want to be, if the message should be saved. So here I'll select ask. And when I go to create a new mail, and when I send the new mail, I will be asked if I want to save it or not. And in this scenario here, I will click no. So the email should not be saved into my sent folder. So then I can go and check my sent folder and make sure that that message was not saved. And it is not. All right, so the next preference we will look at is adding an online meeting automatically or not to new events. So we'll go into the verse settings again, and we'll go into the calendar section. And you'll see that I have some online meetings configured, and I have a default meeting selected. My general meeting is selected, and you see the new option, always add an online meeting. So I'm going to leave this enabled, and I will close the settings, and I'll create a new event. And you see that the online meeting general is added. Now, if I want to switch off that preference, I will go back to the verse settings, deselect always add, and then I will create a new meeting. And you see that there is no online meeting. So those are the demos that I wanted to show today. So I think I'll hand this back over to Annalyn.
All right. Thanks so much, Doug. As mentioned, a lot of features, as you can see, a lot of features that we've delivered for the recent releases have significantly enhanced the user experience and productivity. Um, and some of these ideas come from the ideas or the enhancements you submitted in our idea portal. And we encourage you to continue, submitting your ideas in there, and we will continue to look at it and work on it and deliver these features. All right, moving on. Okay, this is what's coming for HL versus specifically for web. We have the BSI certification. BSI, by the way, is the Federal Cybersecurity Authority of Secure Digitalization in Germany. Currently for HCL Verse, along with HCL Domino and HCL Same Time, the BSI process is already in progress for these products. So this is crucial to meet the specific security requirements of our customers who are, in banking sector and government entities. And this underscores our commitment to offer solutions that meet the highest security standards. So this is coming up hopefully this year. And just flashing in here some of the relevant product documentation for HCL Verse. We have the Verse version 3.2 product documentation available in our help center. We do have the Verse system requirements that is available in our knowledge base portal. And of course, as mentioned, we have the ideas portal available up there. And then we have the product landing page and the hlsoftware.com website. All right. And we are now switching gears. Let's see what's been happening to the Verse mobile, starting off with the Verse Android, which I will hand over to Michael. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Annalyn. Super excited to share with everyone some of the great new features we've been able to add over the last several months and where we're heading in the next few months. Just waiting for the next slide. You can get a quick view of the new features available from the QR code here. This is the standard What's New document, but we'll go ahead and dive right in here to one of the improvements recently. We completely redesigned our calendar event editor. Sorry, the slides are having trouble keeping up right now. We completely redesigned the calendar event editor. This is based upon a new Material 3 design from Google, and it's a precursor to the support we'll be talking about here shortly for our free busy capabilities. But you'll see there's a new iconography. The interactions across the fields I think is much smoother. The visual looks much more updated. So really excited to continue to work on modernization efforts here on some of these new capabilities in our event editor. Let's go to the next slide. One of the components of the new event editor is the actual transition to using bubbled names for our invitees. The previous editor was a plain text model there where we just had this kind of really simple visual with quotes around the display name and then the email address in the standard less than, greater than signs. We moved to a new bubbling model now, which if you actually have photos for the users as well, for the profiles, for the contacts, those will be displayed as well. So we're getting a much more compact experience there in terms of your invitee lists for your event editor. And then in order to remove those, there's an X right on there. You just tap that to remove the entry. And if you want to see the full entry in terms of the display name and the email address, you can simply tap on that bubble to expand that. So you get a complete view of the details of the people you're inviting to the meeting. But great, again, modernization here to get a much more kind of current look and feel in terms of interacting with contacts as part of the invitee lists for our event editor. All right, next slide. So those event editor capabilities, those improvements have been kind of coming out over the past several months. In our November release, November 2024, we actually enabled our suggested times capability. This is something that's been asked for quite some time from our customers, and we're super excited to be able to bring it, something that Verse Web has had for quite some time and is a critical part of making event creation and editing on the device really a lot more usable. Without the ability to look at availability and suggested times, it becomes very difficult to ensure the meetings you're scheduling are going to work for everybody that you're attempting to invite. So we've implemented this capability now to get the information from the Domino server based upon the event proposed time, and then it will provide the suggested times, exactly the same set of data we're going to get that you're seeing in Verse Web. We're visualizing that now in the mobile client, and you can scroll through that list. It's going to give you 7 days worth of data from the current selected start day, and if you want to move it forward in the future, it'll keep gathering new data. So giving you that access to availability quickly on the mobile device. This is again out and in production at this point since November 2024. It does require Traveler 14.0 FixPack 1 to be enabled at this time. We're going to go through a demo of that shortly here. So yeah, let me kind of set up the demo before we get it started, Annalyn. In this specific demo, I'm going to show you an Android phone on the left side of the demo screen. On the right side, it's going to be a window, and that Verse window is going to have actually have apologize, it's kind of a small font there. I could have probably made that a little bigger. It's going to go ahead and show you the suggested times for a given event time. This is being created on Friday around 1 o'clock. So we're going to expose here the complete set of suggested times for this time slot. And that's going to just be used as a basis as we're looking at the mobile client. So we're going to tap on the Create New Event button on the HCLVerse calendar on the mobile phone. And immediately upon opening the editor, we're going to be presented the list of suggested times that we can slide left and right through to scroll through. And again, please note as we kind of scroll back to the beginning of the list, you'll see that the first item in the list, the suggested times, is highlighted in green and bold and doesn't have that gray background, and to indicate that it's the one that you're looking for, the selected time, and it's available for everybody. Next, we're going to go ahead and look at adding other users. That previous example was just for the chair. So we're going to add in a user, and this user actually has an existing meeting at 2 o'clock on this day. So as we add this user in, we'll see the 2 o'clock slot has been removed. Now you only have a 1 o'clock and a 3 o'clock because that user is listed in the required invitees list and they were busy. If we remove that user, that 2 o'clock slot comes right back. We're going to add that same user into the optional list, and we'll see that it does not affect the suggested times because we're currently selecting required invitees only. But if we want to go ahead and select the option there for the type of invitees we're going to restrict this to, we'll then see that we can also restrict it. We can change that restriction. Let's give it a second to catch up here. Change it to all invitees. Now that we're looking at all invitees, the 2 o'clock slot again has been removed at this point. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and remove this. Actually, sorry, we're looking now at the duration period. So we can change the duration of the meeting. Now it's switched from a 1 to 2 p.m. meeting. Simply by tapping the 30 minutes, it's gone to 1 to 1:30. The availability is still there for that same time slot. So everything's still matching the expectation. Now we're going to remove that user. We're going to add another user who's actually fully blocked for the next week. There's no availability for this user. And what we see is that we get feedback there that there's no suggested times available through January 31st. So if there's no times available, we won't show you anything, of course, and it gives you the idea of how long that period is. So you can certainly change the meeting date to try to get more data as needed. In this case, we're going to go ahead and go back to required invitees, and because this specific user was not required, and we're going to go ahead then and know that we've got availability for the required invitees. So as we're moving between those lists, those options of selected user, we can also explicitly set a very specific time for the meeting if we don't want to be limited to the suggested times available by simply tapping the start and end time, and it expands out into this list, which lets us then pick. In this case, we're customizing to a 45-minute meeting if we wanted to do that, or we can pick any combination of dates and times from the kind of classic meeting start time, end time selection. Okay, and I think that's going to be the end of this demo. We can go on to the next slide here. So what we just saw there was suggested times. Again, it's generally available. It's been available since November of last year for all of our Android users. Again, assuming you've got to have the Traveler 14.0 Fixpak 1 available on your Traveler server for that. The other piece of our intent here, our effort to get the full FreeBusy capabilities functioning, is to add the ability to actually find a time, give the user the ability to look through a complete set of data and more easily navigate across days and availabilities in a much similar way to we see on Verse Web as well. So this is going to give the user the ability to look at schedules and eventually even drill into given invitees availability as we go through this. So this next demo, we're going to actually show, this is a sneak peek. This is not available yet. This is still in development. We're targeting the release of this in the next couple months at this point. We're getting very close to this. In this demo, we're going to have a phone, Android phone on the left side and a tablet on the right side. Just giving you a sneak peek about what we're looking for here. We're going to start in the Android phone on the left by tapping the Create Event button. And we see that we're going to have a new find a time button down there under the suggested times. When tapping the find a time button, the user is then going to be taken to a new timeline that shows the timeline for the proposed day for this meeting with a date selector at the top that can be used to highlight the selected day. And then below the timeline will be scrolled to the proposed time and including the start and end time in the selector box. So we can move up and down this find a time area, and that selector box is also going to allow the ability to change the duration of the meeting as needed. Above this, we also had the ability to look at the date selector. So if you, while you're in the find a time view, you can actually expand the date selector to select another date while you're dealing with the find a time UI to help you more easily navigate through the set of availability for a given event. Again, in this demo you're seeing right here, we've got some partial implementations. There'll be other pieces added in terms of the visuals showing with not only colors, but text about the availability for a given time slot. Okay, that's the end of that demo. Annalyn, I think I'm gonna hand it back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Michael. Right, we'll move on next to the Verse iOS, which will be covered by Kervin, our lead iOS developer.
Yeah, thank you so much, Annalyn, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. I'm super excited to share to you what we guys have been cooking up for Verse iOS in the past few 6 months. We are currently developing the support for multiple accounts, which allows users to configure multiple HCL Traveler accounts and allow them to switch between accounts to view their important mail, actions, and calendar, including people as well, for each account that has been added. So after the slide, I have a video for you, which shows you what we've been able to accomplish so far. And at the end of this demo, we also will be opening up some opportunities for you to participate into our beta program for this highly anticipated feature release. So please take to the next slide, Annalyn. All right, so for this demo, we're going to start off with launching Verse with a single account. And as you can see, we have my own account here on the navigation bar, and I'm just going to show you my calendar view, my people view, as well as my actions view. And the next part is we're going to add a new account, and you can do that by tapping on the hamburger icon, which shows you the manage accounts view. Tap on the plus button. I'm sure the video is going too fast. But once that is done, you'll be presented with your server selection screen where you can enter your server URL for the additional account that you want to add to Verse iOS. Tap on connect. This is the usual, user configuration steps. And after you have entered your username and password to your for your new account, all you need to do is press on the login button. After a successful login and authentication, you should be able to see your inbox for your newly added account. As we can see, that is Apple Test User 1. You have its inbox. I'm going to show you its calendar as well. There you go, and the people, and of course the actions. Now you have two accounts here. In order to switch accounts, all you need to do is to tap on the hamburger icon again. And once you're there, oh, sorry, by the way, this is just the settings view of that newly added account, just to make sure that we have the new account added. Again, the next step is to switch accounts. Just press on the hamburger icon, expand the account's header, and choose the account that you wish to switch to. In this case, I switched back to my personal account. And as you can see, we have my personal account here. My calendar is still there. The next demo is going to show you some support for notifications. So now that we have two accounts, you'll be able to see that Verse iOS is now going to be able to sync notifications for all of your accounts. So in this case, I have switched to my Apple Test User 1, and it has successfully synced that notification. I think the video is too fast, but you guys can review this recording, I think, to view some of the stuff we're showing you. Lastly, to delete an account, just go back to the Manage Account screen, swipe left to reveal the trash button, and just press on the trash icon to delete your account. If you have an available account, then you'll be automatically switched back to that next available account. So far, those are the features that we have completed for multi-account support on Verse iOS. We are excited to complete everything and excited to share this to everyone. And I think the next slide will show you the QR code if you wish to register and sign up to become a test flight participant for HCL Verse iOS and be part of our first set of users who will get access to this new feature release before it rolls out to everyone. Make sure to scan this QR code or click on the link on this presentation to register with your information. And once this beta release is available for testing, you will be notified via email. Thank you so much, Alan. I think that concludes my demo.
All right. Thank you so much, Kervin, for that demo. Again, we invite you to be part of our test flight. Just click on this link or scan this, and then we'll collect your information and we will enroll you to our test flight so that you'll be able to try out the multiple account support for Verse iOS when it becomes available in beta. And of course, here are the supporting resources for the Verse Mobile product. We have here the Verse Mobile product documentation, the Verse Mobile system requirements, which is included in the Traveler server system requirements. And we do have individual fixed list for both Verse Android and Verse iOS, which are available as knowledge articles as well. I'll give you a moment to scan these codes so that you can bookmark it and refer to it every time we have a new release. All right. And just to remind everyone, if you haven't upgraded to the most recent version for HL Verse Web, version 3.2.3 is available in the market. It's available for download in the My HCL software portal. Here is the download link. Just a reminder for HL Verse Web, we are in a continuous delivery cycle. So we release every 4 months. Uh, Mobile is much more frequent, almost on a monthly basis. But for Verse Web, the next version, which is version 3.2.4, is coming in late March of this year, 2025. And if you haven't tried out the Verse mobile apps, here is the QR codes where you can download it. It's available in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. And with that, we've shown that HLVerse is available in both the browser and the mobile devices. We'd like to run another poll as well. Dan, if you can launch the second question. We want to know which platform are you currently using for the HLVerse. Are you a web browser user? Have you also tried the Android and iOS apps? Let us know. We'll give you a few moments to answer this poll. All right. We are getting our responses. Thank you so much for taking the time. And let me share the results of that as well. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but there we go. All right. Okay, majority of you have answered that you've been using First Web, and yep, some have tried out both Android and iOS. And for some of you who haven't tried out HCL Verse yet, if you are a Domino CCB customer or if you have a complete collaboration bundle license, it comes with HCL Verse. With no additional license cost, you can deploy HCL Verse in your environment. So yeah, leverage it. It's included in your license along with many other supporting products for HCL Domino. So yeah, we invite you to try it out now. All right. And okay, this is a sneak peek for what's coming this year. As you all know, we are launching HCL Domino 14.5 in the middle of this year. It comes with HCL Nomad and Verse installed by default. When version 14.5 of Domino comes out in June, the version of the HL verse that it comes with is the version 3.2.4. This is the version that is coming out in March of this year. And then since we have a continuous delivery cycle and we release every 4 months, this is the planned release or roadmap for the succeeding version of HL verse. So if you if you set up your 14.5 server, you will get HL verse installed by default in there. And for new releases, you will get the updates and you can upgrade to the most recent version. All right. And with that, we are moving on to the Q&A. Okay, let me see the questions panel. I don't know, guys, if you have already answered some of the questions or if there's any question that you'd like to pick here and address, feel free to unmute yourselves. For any of our developers who are here with us in the call today, you can pick any question and then, yeah, we can share it to the rest of the group.
Yeah, and I think there's a kind of a couple for you here. So they're asking about where they can download the slides.
Oh, yes. So by the way, this webinar, as usual, is always recorded. We will post this in the YouTube channel, and we will also publish a knowledge article where you can download and access the presentation along with the Q&A for today's session. So yeah, we'll share that with you. Please watch out when it becomes available. I will most likely post it in the support forum where you can see the knowledge article with these slides. Thanks, Doug. Any other questions you'd like to address?
There was a little bit of feedback on the poll as well. So if we do something similar in the future, we might want to be able to allow for multiple options on which client is being used. There are definitely a couple of feedback that people said they're using, say like Android and web, right? So
all right. Yep.
something to consider.
Yep. We'll take note of that. Thank you so much. All right. Other questions?
One other quick one. I know Juanis had asked about seeing the poll result. We did not share, I think, the poll results originally on the first one. And so I thought I would do that now for folks that want to see how many people and how long they've been using the Verse product. So I just wanted to share that because I don't think we did that initially, and that was one of the inputs we got on the questions. Okay.
All right. Yep. That's a good point. Thank you so much, Dan. Okay. Any other questions from the group? Michael or Kervin, do you see anything in there where you'd like to address?
We've responded to a couple of them so far, Annalyn. Kind of still working through here quick. I think there's one question about delegated mailbox on mobile. There is an idea open for that. That is not implemented at this time. It's being prioritized. So we certainly want to encourage people. I'll try to put a link in there to the idea for voting on that. And then they're also asking for a list of feature differences between Android and iOS. I think that's really narrowed quite a bit. I'm trying to think if we have an actual public document on that at this point. The multi-account support was a parity item for sure that iOS is working diligently on. And then they'll begin working on the free busy suggested times component after that in terms of kind of maintaining parity as we go through new features. I don't know that we have any sort of other public document on the list of feature differences at this point. And I think there was some question in that one related to, yeah, in terms of versions, yeah. So Corbin, anything else catch your eye in that list?
Yeah, I think there was a question. I don't know if you already answered that, but someone was asking like when would multi-account support be available for Verse Android? I
That's
think you might
already
have
there.
answered that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's, see the answers there on the right side of the window there, Corbin.
Oh, okay. Must have missed that part. But yeah, I think you've addressed everything there. I also would like to say something about the list of feature differences. I also don't believe we have that currently available, and I'm not sure if it's, there's not a lot of differences. I think the only one that's major in terms of differences will be multi-account support at this point and the FreeBSD support. But everything else, I think we're pretty much in parity with each other. So that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you, Michael and Kervin. Okay, I was just trying to open up the questions panel on my end, and now I'm able to see the questions on my side. Okay, there's a feedback in here. I know there are several of you who are interested to know when we are going to support the PDF file preview. It What I could say is that it's in the top of our backlog at the moment. It's in our list of priority. So hopefully we can get to that in the second half of this year. But Doug, if there's anything you'd like to add to that, feel free to speak up.
Yeah, no, I don't think I have anything to add there other than the PDF preview. I think would also come in with the notes client as well, based on the designs we're trying to look at.
All right. Thank you so much.
I see a question here about upgrading to 3.2.5 after installing Domino 14.5. So every Verse web release is downloadable separate from Domino, and there are instructions on the Verse help site on how to deploy each kit that you download. So it's definitely possible to deploy newer versions of Verse on any Domino server that you have.
Okay, thank you. All right, I see a question in here about email signatures, but we may need to ask for some further clarity on what the specific question is regarding email signatures. If it's syncing the emails across the different clients, whether the browser and the mobile apps, if that is what you're asking for, that is also in our list of backlog, which we can hopefully get to in the future releases.
Annalyn, there was also a higher level question. I don't think you covered it yet. The difference between Verse and Traveler. I think that's something as a product manager probably be easy for you to articulate that. What's the difference between Verse and Traveler was one of the questions here.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yep. I see that question here. So, Traveler is a Domino task that is the solution that allows you to connect to the mobile devices for your mail. Verse is the client piece of it. So, it can be on a Verse can be on a browser where you can access your email, and then it's also available in your mobile devices. You're connecting through the Traveler server task in your mobile devices when you're using Verse in there. Hopefully that answers your question. All right, is there anything else that we missed? We still have a couple of minutes left. Please send in your questions. Or is there anything else of interest in there that you see? Again, we'll be sharing the recording, the presentation, the resources that we use for this webinar with all of you through a knowledge article that we will publish hopefully within the day or within the week. We'll get that available to all of you. Oh, there's one in here. Is there any plan to have presence indicator in Verse from same time? I think this is pertaining to the online presence in Verse. I don't know. Dog, if that is something that you can speak to.
Yeah, I'm wondering about a little more clarity there because we do have the status of the users in certain areas, like in the important to me bar, and like if you open an email from somebody, we'll have their current same time status in there as well.
All right, awesome. Okay, there's a new one in here about Domi. Domino 14.5 is adding passcode support for Zoom in Domi. Is this also being added to Verse? I can't recall if this is something that's already in our backlog, but yes, we will get back to you on this specific question. Okay, another question was stationery covered. Will that be in the Verse mobile? I think you're referring to the mail template, which is already available in the Verse web browser. Um, we don't have a requirement or a request specifically for this for the Verse mobile, but that is a good idea, something that can perhaps submit as an AHA idea or an enhancement in our idea portal.
Yeah, one of the first questions that was asked, asking for a reference to a customization guide. So the customizations that can be done to Verse Web are the extensions that we have, and there is a extension documentation site I can post the link to in there. The specific use case of custom fields and whatnot, I'd probably like to get some more information from that person directly to understand the use case and see how we could support them in the future.
All right, thank you.
There's a question that was added about extension support in the mobile app. I assume this is something related to what Doug, you were mentioning about extensions you had added in Verse Web that were, I think that was how you were doing your processing of the send actions. Is that, am I getting that correct?
Yep, that demo there was using an extension, yes.
Yeah, so at this point, there's no plan, and I'm not aware of any idea related to any concept of extensions in the mobile side, but I'd certainly encourage y'all to open up new ideas that are valuable for you and your companies. I'll put a link in there just to the ideas portal, just to have that thing handy. But I'm not aware of any ideas related to extensions in mobile at this point.
Yep, thank you. And let me flash here the link to the idea portal as well, which you can scan. I think it's in the middle of our slides. Okay, any other questions from the group? Yep, there we go. Here are the relevant links, and one of this is the idea portal for Verse. If you have new ideas in mind, please do submit them and we will review. Okay, I don't see any new questions coming to the questions panel at this point. All right, and with that, I think we can close out this webinar. We have a lot of attendees, we have a lot of inquiries, and we love the engagement that you guys brought into this webinar. So we appreciate your time. We thank you for that. And also many, many thanks to my co-presenters and speakers for today. For our attendees, we hope that you learned something new today. Please do watch out for the upcoming releases for HL Verse Web 3.2.4 coming up um, in March, and then we have an upcoming release for Verse Android this week, and Verse iOS. Please do watch out for the test flight, and hopefully we'll get participants to test out the multi-account support for Verse iOS. With that, we thank you for your time and have a great day. We'll see you again in the next webinar. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.